Welcome to The Explainer. All right, we are jumping straight into one of the most enduring, emotionally charged, and honestly, hotly debated mysteries in all of Pixar lore. We are talking about the true identity of Andy's mom. We're going to dig into the hidden visual clues, break down what the actual directors have said, and oh yeah, we have to talk about that groundbreaking new evidence that literally just dropped in the Toy Story 5 trailer.
So to really get this, we've got to rewind to 1999 and that absolute tearjerker of a scene. You know the one, the When She Loved Me flashback in Toy Story 2. It's the scene that explains exactly why Jessie is so terrified of being outgrown. But what if that wasn't just some random tragic backstory? What if the little girl who left Jessie on the side of the road is actually Andy's mother?
This, my friends, is what the internet calls the Emily theory. It was originally put out there by John Negroni. Yeah, the same guy who came up with the massive unified Pixar theory. Basically, the idea is that Jessie's original owner, Emily, grew up, got married, and became Mrs. Davis, Andy's mom. It's a theory that turns every single one of us into cinematic detectives. So, let's look at the evidence. The first major clue is honestly the one that kickstarted this whole thing. Think about the hat Andy wears when he plays. You'd naturally assume that Andy, whose absolute favorite toy in the universe is Woody, would wear a hat that matches his hero, right? Well, Woody wears a plain, dark brown cowboy hat. But Andy, he wears this reddish-brown hat with a very distinct faded mark around the brim. They don't match at all, so why is he wearing it? Well, things get super interesting when we stop comparing Andy's hat to Woody's and start comparing it to Jessie's, and by extension, the hat worn by Jessie's original owner, Emily. Because Andy's hat is a perfect match. Same reddish-brown color, exact same shape. The only difference is that Jessie and Emily's hat has a white lace band around the center. But remember that faded mark on Andy's hat? It perfectly aligns with exactly where a white lace band used to be. It literally looks exactly like an old, hand-me-down piece of clothing. Now, you might be thinking, didn't Emily give all her cowgirl stuff away? Well, eagle-eyed fans went back, rewatched the sequence, and caught an absolutely crucial detail. When teenage Emily drives out to put Jessie in that charity donation box, the hat is missing. And actually, if you look at the size of that box, there is no way the hat would have fit in there anyway. So the theory goes that Emily held onto that hat out of pure nostalgia and years later passed it down to her son, Andy. Okay, but does the math actually work out? Let's check the timeline. Woody is a collector's item from a canceled 1950s TV show. Emily's childhood Western phase lines up perfectly with the late 50s and early 60s. Then, we see her outgrow Jessie, right? Her bedroom decor swaps to acid rock posters and a pink rotary phone, putting her teenage years right in the late 60s or 70s. Fast forward to 1995, and Mrs. Davis is raising a 6-year-old Andy. The timeline flawlessly tracks Emily's age to make her the exact right age to be Mrs. Davis. And then there's the physical resemblance. We never get a full look at Emily's face, but she has auburn or strawberry blonde hair as a teen. Mrs. Davis has lighter blonde or brownish hair, which is super common as people age. But here's the crazy part. People analyzing the Blu-ray frames realize that Emily and Mrs. Davis share the exact same 3D character model. Plus, Emily's last name is never revealed, and Mrs. Davis's first name is never mentioned. They could so easily be Emily Davis. Beyond just the physical clues, it creates this absolutely beautiful poetic symmetry for Pixar. Both Emily and Andy had this fiercely strong connection to their toys, and both eventually had to outgrow them. But in this scenario, Emily unknowingly passed down a piece of her past to her son, who ended up loving a cowboy doll just as much as she loved her cowgirl doll. It just adds so much emotional depth, meaning Jessie and Emily were actually living under the same roof again without even realizing it. Section 2. The case against, plot holes and debunks. So, what's the biggest hole in this whole investigation? It's Jessie. If Mrs. Davis is Emily, why didn't Jessie have some massive, mind-blowing reaction to seeing her in Andy's house? Jessie has deep trauma from being abandoned by Emily. If she was suddenly living with her again, seeing her every single day, you'd expect a total breakdown, right? But she literally never mentions it. And skeptics are quick to point out that reusing 3D character models was just standard cost-saving stuff for early Pixar. Not necessarily a massive lore drop. And then the creators themselves stepped into the ring. Toy Story director Andrew Stanton actually went on social media to directly address a viral video about these exact backstory theories. He completely shut it down, bluntly calling it fake news. Ouch. I mean, when the director tells you flat out it's not true, it's pretty hard to argue. Writer Pete Docter chimed in too.
During an interview, he confirmed that he and John Lasseter spent hours and hours mapping out Jessie's backstory. But his official stance? We have our own kind of backstory that's a little different than that. So straight from the Pixar brain trust, the official canon just doesn't line up with the Emily theory.
Section 3. New evidence, the Toy Story 5 trailer. So for a while, this mystery felt pretty much dead and buried by the creators. Until now. The upcoming Toy Story 5 is giving us a toys versus tech storyline, where Jessie is actually stepping up as the new leader of Bonnie's room. But the absolute showstopper in the trailer is a brand new, redesigned flashback to the When She Loved Me sequence. And get this, for the first time in the entire franchise, we get a full close-up face reveal of Emily interacting with Jessie. They are bringing her right back into the spotlight.
Pixar knows exactly what they're doing here. They know how much weight Emily holds for the fan base. To match the heavy emotion of this updated flashback, they actually teamed up with Taylor Swift, who's apparently been a huge Toy Story fan since she was a kid. She wrote a brand new song called I Knew It, I Knew You, to mirror that original Randy Newman track. They're putting a huge, undeniable focus on Jessie's past. Okay, let's pivot to the new tech villain, a high-tech tablet named LilyPad. In the trailer, LilyPad ominously pulls up an internet auction listing for Jessie on a site called eBid. Fun fact, that's a deep-cut reference to the Toy Story of Terror short, where a shady motel manager sold stolen toys online. It proves Pixar is weaving some seriously deep lore into this new movie. But here is the most explosive piece of evidence yet. In a real blink-and-you-miss-it frame, the tablet shows a photo it snapped of Jessie and Bullseye. The caption says, "Found your toys," and it's tagging a mysterious internet user named Horse Girl. Someone out there on the internet is actively hunting for a Jessie doll, and LilyPad just found her. Cue the internet collectively losing its mind. Who is Horse Girl? Is it actually a grown-up Emily using the internet to finally track down the childhood toys she deeply regrets giving away? Or maybe Emily had a daughter who loves horses, just like her mom, and Emily's trying to find the original toy for her. The fact that they're finally showing Emily's face in the exact same movie makes this whole Horse Girl thing incredibly suspicious. So when we lay all the evidence out side by side, we've got quite the standoff. On one hand, you have this stunning, emotionally rich narrative built on real visual clues. The matching red hats, the flawless timeline, and now this wild Horse Girl internet search in Toy Story 5. But on the other hand, you have direct, undeniable statements from the actual directors calling it fake news, plus logical gaps like Jessie never recognizing Mrs. Davis. It is the ultimate showdown of fan romance versus creator canon. As we sit here waiting for the movie to drop, the stage is totally set. Is Pixar finally going to address this decades-old mystery? Will Horse Girl actually turn out to be Emily? Are we going to get that ultimate poetic closure about passing down the things we love to the next generation? Or is this just going to remain the greatest unconfirmed theory in Pixar history? I don't know. What do you guys think? Just keep your eyes peeled when Toy Story 5 hits theaters, because the truth might just be wearing a faded red cowboy hat.